The government of Canada in the last days of October 2020 announced they are going to increase the number of applications they accept for immigration to Canada. In fact, they are going to accept 401,000 immigrants in 2021 alone, 411,000 new immigrants in 2022, and 421,000 new immigrants in 2023. But how can you immigrate to Canada if the doors are open like that? To answer this question, please continue watching this video, but please subscribe to our channel and enable notifications. When it comes to immigration to Canada, there are three major options under Section 12 of the Immigration Act: family reunification, economic immigration, and refugees. Let me explain those options based on the availabilities in 2021. And by the way, if you are into reading, I have an article with all the links and information. I will post it down below here, and you can also read that article. Let's talk about family reunification. Family reunification means there is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada who wants to sponsor a family member to Canada. Those family members are defined under Section 117 of the Immigration Regulations. I don't want to go into the details, but the major groups include your spouse, common law partner, or conjugal partner, your dependent children, your parents or grandparents. And of course, under special circumstances, you could even sponsor your brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, and so on. In some cases, people adopt children from outside Canada, and they can also sponsor their adopted children to Canada. For sponsorship applications, obviously the sponsor needs to meet certain requirements. For example, they need to be at least 18 years old. They need to reside in Canada with a couple of exceptions. And also they need to meet the financial requirements in terms of income, again with some exemptions. The second group of immigrants are economic immigrants. Economic immigrants, according to the government of Canada, will constitute about 60% of immigrants in 2021 and moving forward. But what does that mean? It means that you can immigrate to Canada based on your skill set, based on your education, age, employability in Canada, or the money that you have and your investment and entrepreneurship. We could divide economic immigration into two major groups: federal immigration and provincial nominee program. When you are immigrating under federal immigration programs, it means you intend to immigrate to Canada. It means that you intend to reside in any province of Canada but the province of Quebec. The reason that Quebec is excluded is because the government of Quebec has signed an agreement with the federal government to take over immigration to their own province. With federal immigration, the options that we have in 2021 include express entry system, which is an online system, and this online system covers three major immigration options to Canada: federal skills worker class, federal skills trade class, and Canadian experience class. Traditionally speaking, about 60% of those people who immigrate to Canada under express entry, they come from Canadian experience class. It means that you have some work experience in Canada under National Occupational Classifications 0, A, or B. And of course, you meet certain other requirements such as language requirements, etc., and you can apply for immigration to Canada. However, the rest of immigrants under express entry system, they are mostly from federal skilled worker class, and the federal skilled trades class are for skilled trades people like plumbers, welders, and so on, that they either have job offers to Canada or they already approved as licensed people from a Canadian province. If we set aside express entry, we also have some business immigration options. One of those business immigration options is startup visa. It means that you have an innovative idea that hopefully will turn into the next Google or Apple, and the government of Canada welcomes you. However, you need to run this innovative idea with some acceptable and approved organizations. And one of those organizations must support your idea. Those organizations are basically divided into three major groups. They are venture capital funds, angel investors groups, and incubators. However, not every venture capital fund or angel investor group or incubator could support you, only those that are approved by the government of Canada. If you get a support letter from those organizations, then you may immigrate to Canada, assuming they meet other requirements such as not being inadmissible to Canada, or take an IELTS test or another test like CELPIP, or French test like TEF Canada or TCF Canada, and meet the minimum requirements. The other business option for immigration to Canada is called self-employed. However, the federal self-employed class only covers cultural activities and athletics. You need to meet the requirements in terms of your work experience as a self-employed athlete or artist, or an internationally renowned athlete or artist, and you need to convince an immigration officer that when you come to Canada, you can start your self-employment business and contribute to the economy of Canada. Unfortunately, in 2021, there won't be any investors program under federal class. And basically, we are limited to startup visa and self-employed for the purpose of immigration as a business person to Canada. However, we have some pilot programs, and those pilot programs include three major pilot programs in 2021. One of them is called Agri-Food Pilot Program. If you are a worker under agriculture sector or under food industry sector, assuming that you meet certain requirements such as work experience, job offer, etc., you may immigrate to Canada. This is a fairly new program that was introduced or kicked off in March 2020, and the government intends to extend it in 2021. In 2021, you could also immigrate under RNIP, or Rural and Northern Immigrant Pilot Program or Immigration Pilot Program. The Government of Canada, or IRCC, has identified 11 different communities all over Canada, and if you receive a valid job offer supported by the community from one of those 11 communities, then you may immigrate to Canada. Another pilot program that will run in 2021 is called the Atlantic Immigrant Pilot Program, which you could also use to immigrate to Canada. This means that you have a valid job offer from a certified or approved employer from one of those 4 Atlantic provinces of Canada, that is Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. If you have the valid job offer, then you may immigrate to Canada, assuming that you meet other requirements. Of course, we also have the Caregiver Pilot Program that is limited to caregivers. However, it doesn't directly result into permanent residence. You first need to receive a job offer from a Canadian employer to work as a caregiver, for example, taking care of children under 18 or people who are elderly or sick. And If they approve your application, you will receive a work permit. You come to Canada, and if you work for 2 years as a caregiver, then you may apply for permanent residence. These are pretty much the straightforward federal options. Provincial options or provincial nominee programs are limited to every province in Canada. Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. With the exception of Nunavut, which is one of the territories, the rest of provinces and territories, they have their own provincial nominee program or immigration programs. Those immigration programs are designed for people to immigrate to a specific province and stay and reside in that province. In other words, for example, if you apply for immigration under a Manitoba Immigrant Nominee Program, it means that if you get approved, then your destination or the place that you are going to reside is the province of Manitoba, for example, the city of Winnipeg. Quebec, as I mentioned, is exceptional because the kind of agreement they have with the government of Canada expands their powers. For example, even if you want to study in Quebec, you need to receive a CAQ before studying in Canada, or if you want to sponsor your family, your spouse or family members to Quebec, you need to receive a CSQ first. However, the concept of immigration to Quebec is kind of the same of other PNP applications. At the end of the day, your destination is the province of Quebec. Their programs mostly are targeting people who know French, and actually they know French very well. They prefer Francophones to immigrate to their province. Let's set aside economic immigration. We can also talk about refugee programs. Refugee programs could also result into immigration to Canada. We have 2 major refugee classes. The first refugee group refers to those people who are displaced from their home country. They are in a third country. They refer to UNHCR, which is the refugee wing of the United Nations, and they request asylum from UNHCR. If UNHCR accepts them, then they will resettle them to one of those countries that they accept refugees. And obviously, Canada is one of those countries. Canada has some government-run programs for resettlement and some private collaboration for resettlement. I have other videos about resettlement and refugee programs. I won't repeat myself here. However, sometimes you can travel to Canada, and when you are at the port of entry or while you are inside Canada as a student, as a stateless person, as a person who is overstayed in Canada, or as a worker, you may apply for refugee inside Canada or at a port of entry. You file for asylum. You need to go through a court-like system, and if they approve you, you become a permanent resident of Canada. Keep in mind that Canada does not run refugee camps. The situation for refugees in Canada is probably the most humane comparing to many other countries in the world. These are the permanent residency options. However, sometimes you can move to Canada on a temporary basis and decide for yourself whether you want to become permanent or not. For example, you can come as a temporary foreign worker, you can come to Canada as an international student, or you can come as a visitor. If you are here as a temporary foreign worker, then you could eventually qualify for Canadian Experience Class or a provincial nominee program and apply for immigration. If you are here as an international student, you could qualify for postgraduate work permit, which is a work option for students, and stay in Canada after completing your studies and eventually become a permanent resident of Canada. The procedures behind temporary foreign worker program, international students or visitors are relatively complex. I don't want to go into the details in this short video. The last but not least, remember Canada takes care of its citizens, and they want to make sure that whoever immigrates to Canada is not inadmissible to Canada. In other words, that person will not put Canadians in danger. The safety and security of Canadians are of paramount importance to the government of Canada. That's why we have some sections of the law dedicated to inadmissibility to Canada. If you are moving to Canada and you are inadmissible, you may not travel to Canada or work in Canada or study in Canada or immigrate to Canada. First, you need to resolve those issues. If you cannot resolve them, sometimes you may apply for temporary solutions like a TRP or some permanent solutions like humanitarian and compassionate immigration to Canada. I try to briefly recap the options that exist in 2021 for immigration to Canada. I have several videos that explain these options in more details. Thank you very much for watching this video. My name is Parsai. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I teach immigration consulting at Ashton College. I'm the author of 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada. It's a bestseller book. You can find out about your purchasing options by visiting 88tips.ca. Please subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget, click that bell thing and enable notifications. See you soon.